What is good, everybody? It is your boy Super Saiyan back with another DLC 10 video for you guys. Today we have the actual patch notes that came with DLC 10, all the changes that came to skills, characters, regular gameplay changes, anything like that will be in these patch notes for the most part. Now I want to give a huge shout out to a couple of people, guys. As you see right here at the bottom of the screen, the translation was done by the homie Vamplosion. The quality control was done by Rechow and Demon Boy, and then the miscellaneous work was done by RDF 2050. I will have all their Twitters linked down below in the description. Be sure to show them some love and support, guys. They definitely deserve it for all the work that they put in with these DLC patch notes, because it's not this one that they've done. They've done DLC 9, DLC 8, and I believe even maybe DLC 7 if there was actual patch notes that were released for that one as well. But anytime there are notes like this released, they always do the translation. So again, man, huge shout out to all of those guys. Now, getting into this, there is a couple of things that aren't filled out yet, aren't fully translated, but for the most part everything is here. And the first skill we have on the list is Super Godfist, and it said it was made easier to hit with. I really don't understand that, considering the simple fact that Super Godfist was one of the easiest skills in the game already to land. So again, don't know exactly what that means, but it was made easier to hit with. Now moving on to Super Dragon Fist, it says it made it so you cannot Z vanish out of the move part way. So basically, Super Dragon Fist, once you get hit with the move now, you are completely stuck in it. There is no way out of it at all. Instant Transmission, it made the time shorter before you reappear. Next up is Awoken Assault. Awoken Assault got a lot of changes. It says change so additional inputs after the first hit cause a follow-up. Made it so you can Z vanish out of the follow-up, and then it also made it so you lose a small amount of health during follow-up attack. So a lot of changes honestly came to Awoken Assault, as you guys see. And then moving on, we have Super After Image, change distance of directional input distance, and it reduced key needed for the move as well. And then we have Charge, reduced damage done, made it so you can cancel the move with an additional input. If blocked, it reduces your key, and there's a question mark, so that's not like 100% guaranteed, but that's what he believes. I'm assuming it actually says. Now, Charge was honestly a move that wasn't really used much, and the fact that they reduced the damage makes me a little bit iffy on it. But the whole cancel with additional input thing has me wondering about the move, if it actually can be used in some kind of very good way, considering the fact that you can cancel this move with an additional input at times. Now, but moving on, the next move that did get some changes was Light Grenade. Don't know exactly what changed, but if you guys want to test it out for yourself and see if you could find the change yourself, feel free to do so and share it down below in the comments as well. But moving on to Evil Eyes, guys, it said increased speed of hit detection. Then we have On Combo, which again is another one that does not have a description on it. So if you know the changes that came to that in particular move, once again, share it down below in the comments. Now next up, guys, we have Destructo Disc, which was made easier to hit with, which is very good, considering the move is barely ever used because of how slow and how hard it is to really connect. And then also we have Destructo Disc Barrage, made easier to hit a knocked back opponent. So any kind of knock away attack or anything like that, I'm assuming you can now use Destructo Disc Barrage and it'll actually be very viable. But moving on to the next move, we have Saturday Crash, another move that was made easier to hit a knockback opponent. Honestly, a lot of skills were changed to where they can actually hit knockback opponents, and I feel a lot of strike-based characters are going to like a lot of these changes also, as you guys will see as we go through the list. Moving on, we have Shining Shot, or actually no, Shining Friday, made it so it's harder for the move to disappear after it hits another blast, changed the speed of the key blast as well. And then Shine Shot made it so you can activate while blocking, made it so your opponent can escape when hit, and then also made it so you can cancel the move with a dash or step straight after activating it. Now next up, we have Death Crasher, made it easier to hit knockback opponents. Again, this is something where strike CACs or strike base characters should really be happy, because now strike moves are going to be more viable in knockback situations, which was a very big issue with strike skills. You know, one, there wasn't that many of them, and then two, a lot of them needed to be used in mid combo ways, or are in the mid combo, or ways that just weren't that viable in terms of damage. So again, I feel a lot of strike-based CACs will definitely be happy about this update. But moving on, guys, we have Crazy Finger Shot, which is another move that was made easier to hit a knockback opponent. Finish Buster was also made easier to hit a knockback opponent, but it also had an increased damage and an increased speed of the blast as well. Now moving on to Final Cannon. made it easier to connect moves when the opponent is near top of the map. And then Endless Shot made it easier to hit knockback opponents, and then also holding the button makes it so you continue the attack at the cost of ki. So it's pretty much like a crazy finger shot at this point in time. Now moving on to Perfect Shot, it said it made it easier to hit with, which I really don't understand. The move was already very easy to land, but who knows, maybe it's easier now. Justice Rush had an increase to its damage done. Then Eagle Kick, guys, made it easier to hit with, made easier to connect, made easier to connect attacks after a hit, added invincibility frames at the start of the move, and then made it so it does more damage to guards when blocked. I'm assuming that means more damage in terms of like taking away stamina, because there's only really two type of things that can be happen to a guard from a move. It can either get broken by that move, or it can take away stamina, and I'm assuming that's what it means by doing more damage to guard when blocked. Now, moving on to Hot Charge, made it easier to hit a knockback opponent. Again, another strike skill that was done that way. Vanishing Ball made it easier to hit back a knockback, made it easier to hit a knockback opponent, and then when using Purification, the opponent has a different knockback that allows for follow-up combos. That sounds absolutely crazy, and I'm very curious to see how that works. But moving on to Pearl Flash, guys, made it easier to hit a knockback opponent, and it also made it so it breaks guard when fully charged when using Purification. So again, Pearl Flash is another strike skill. Like, as you guys can see, there are strike skills that now can be used off of knockaway attacks, which is just absolutely fire. Now moving on, next skill we have up is Die Missile Barrage, another one made easier to hit off a knockback opponent. Same with Super Donut Valley, again made easier to hit a knockback opponent. Then we have Big Bang Attack, one that a lot of people will be very happy about, made easier to hit a knockback opponent. So I'm assuming off all knockaway attacks, this skill should be working from now on, and then made every part of the move easier to hit with as well. Then we have Blaster Shell, which got a slight reduction to damage. I don't know why. But next up is Gigantic Meteor, made it easier to hit a knockback opponent. Present for You slightly reduced the damage, which I can kind of understand. When that move would actually come out, it did insane amounts of damage. But next up we have Rage Saucer, which was made easier to hit with, and then it made it so you cannot change lock on during move, made it so your opponent is knocked back on even the first and second hits. Moving on to Meteor Crash though, next up, it says it made it so you cannot Z-vanish out of the attack. And when I first saw this, I was like, Meteor Crash might actually be a fairly pretty good move now. The fact that they cannot get out of it once you actually activate it, you're getting that guaranteed 5-6k damage depending on how your build is and how much actual ki you want to use. But that damage is guaranteed without doubt with the move now, which is just fairly dope. Now, Burst Charge, increase the amount of ki restored when activating the move. Infinity Explosion made easier to hit with. Android Kick was made easier to hit with, as well as increasing the damage. Phantom Fist increased the amount of stamina restored when moves succeed, and made it so you face your opponent when the move ends. So I'm assuming when you use this move, you're gonna literally appear right in front of your opponent as opposed to appearing behind them like you used to. Now, next up we have Finishing Blow, but again, this is another one that does not have a description. If you guys know what changed about it, be sure to share that down below. Excuse me. Now, moving on, we have Life Absorption. It increased the health restored. Then we have Wild Hunt, which honestly, this change to Wild Hunt was very dope in my opinion. But basically, when used against a knockback opponent, it made it so you teleport to them. So when you use the move, you teleport right on them and then go into the Wild Hunt. Again, another strike skill that was made viable off of knockaway attacks. Now, moving on though, we have Emperor's Edge, which had an increase to its damage. Then Rocket Punch was made easier to hit a knockback opponent. Android Rush increased follow-up hit damage and made it easier to connect hits after attacks. Faint Rush was made easier to hit with. Sudden Storm was made easier to hit with. Rakshas's Claw was made easier to hit with. Now, Super Mad Dance, again, this is another one we do not know what exactly changed with it. So moving on, we have Mouth Cannon short, mid, and long range. Then Evil Roar. I don't know what these moves are exactly. I've never seen these moves in my life. The only thing I can think of is like the Great Ape Mouth Cannon, but I don't know why that would be in the patch notes. Again, I don't know exactly what that is. But moving on, we have the Doria's Headbutt, which had an increase to its damage, which I really don't understand. But anyways, going on to the next move, we have Destruction Concerto Comet. Basically all of Vados's moves got buffs done to them, and Comet was made easier to hit with, increase the damage of placed Ki Blast, increase damage when used with that other move that joins with this. Then we have Destruction's Concerto Starfall, made easier to hit with and increase damage of the placed Ki Blast, and the same thing goes for Meteor. It increased the damage of the placed Ki Blast, and then when used with Conductor thing increased to 5 Ki Blast. Okay, so basically instead of, I believe it was 4 before, it is now 5 Ki Blast that'll come out of that move. And then Destruction's Conductor was made blockable, and then when you use the move, you restore Nani. Dang. So honestly, Vados is a lot better now as an overall character, considering all of her moves got to do that. So you're always getting a 50 Ki back when you use this move. That's kind of crazy. But moving on, guys, we have God of Destruction's Roar, which I don't understand this. Increase the amount of damages it damages stamina. That right there really doesn't make sense, because it was already a move that could be fairly annoying if used properly. Now I feel like it's a move that's just going to kind of be OP, and you may see it a lot based off the simple fact that you are going to be able to break people's stamina fairly easy with it if the increase is anywhere as near as significant as I think it actually is, in my mind at least. Or actually would be. I haven't tested it out for myself. But moving on, guys, we have God Splitter next up, and it was made easier to hit with. Then Heavenly Arrow had a slight decrease to its damage, and then it made it so you can dodge out of move when hit. I'm very curious to see how that works. But the next up, guys, the next 6 skills, pretty much, we have Divine Retribution, Reversal Launcher, Spirit Stab, Blaze of Judgment, Lightning of Absolution, Light of Justice. What is this? Get out of here. Light of Justice, Spiral of Condemnation. All of these moves, guys, were made easier to hit a knockback opponent on them, and supposedly Lightning of Absolution was only made to take 1 key bar now as well. Again, these aren't like the full notes. This is just what the patch notes were given to us from Bandai, from Dimps, things like that. There were some changes though that were not actually described on these patch notes, and I believe Lightning of Absolution is one of the skills that had an extra change to it that wasn't fully described on the notes. Like I said, I believe it only takes 1 key bar. That's what I was told, but I do not know for sure. Now, moving on, guys, we have Brave Sword Slash and Power Impact. Both were made easier to hit a knockback opponent. Soaring Fist, don't know exactly what changed about that. But then moving on, we have Reverse Shot, change direction of knockback on final shot. Variant Drive, decrease the time that was needed for the opponent to be able to Z-vanish out of the move. Revenge Final Flash got stronger, just had a damage increase done to it, so the move is honestly going to be very, very nice now, most likely. Gigantic Charge, which is next, guys, it was made easier to hit a knockback opponent once again. Now going into the ultimates, guys, I believe this is where ultimates start. First off, we have Unrelenting Barrage, don't know exactly what was changed to that, or Hell's On Grenade. Excuse me. Then we have Self-Destruct for Crystal Raid only. It said made it so when hit the opponent doesn't stamina break but takes damage, made first hit blockable. Then we have Death Meteor, which was made easier to hit with. Angry Explosion, increased amount of hits when you use all of your key for move, and usually with an increased amount of hits there's a bit of an increased amount of damage as well. But then we have Elegant Blaster next on the list, and it says after you appear, decreased time needed for opponent to lock on to you. Then we have Sword of Hope. It says made it so you can take damage while drawing your sword when the attack starts, because that move would give you major super armor, things like that. And I don't believe you were able to break stamina, I don't know for sure, but again, it says it made it so you can actually take damage while you're drawing your sword when the attack starts. Now moving on, we have Psycho Escape, which made it so the opponent is invincible after hit until they can move. Fake Blast made it so attacker is unable to move for a longer hit. Power Pole Pro, moving on to the actual Awoken skills, guys, and Fake Blast is an example of another one where we got some more information. Like when Demon Boy went through the actual data mines of it, there was some more information about it. Don't remember exactly what everything said, but for those who saw the video yesterday talking about the nerfs to Super Saiyan Blue Evolution and the buff, or the buff to Evolution and the nerf to Golden, you guys know what I'm talking about. You saw the changes to Fake Blast within that video, and there was definitely more than just it made it so attackers unable to move for a longer time after the hit. But moving on to Power Pole Pro, guys, Pressing key blast button during combos add extra moves. There was iframes added, all that stuff, again, like Demon Boy had put out in his tweet yesterday. So again, these are just prime examples of how the patch notes aren't 100% accurate in terms of they cover everything. What is here is definitely changed in this way. Like, all these moves were made easier to hit with the knockback, all that is true, but again, some stuff may be missing a little bit of information that Demon Boy was actually able to find in the data files of Xenoverse 2. Now moving on to Turn Golden, we already know the decreased key regeneration when used, and then with Super Saiyan Blue Evolution we already know about the increased key drain when used. And then it says moves that are straight blast like Kamehameha were all made easier to hit with, and then charge key blast were also made easier to hit with as well. Now that's everything for the first page, guys. Now we have to go on to the second page. So give me, where's the second page at? Nani? Hold on, the second page is not here for some reason. Let me see what's going on real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, y'all, we are back, and again, I don't know why the page 2 thing was not appearing. As you see now, it's at the bottom left hand side of the screen, but anyways, that's not really important. Moving on to the last couple of changes that actually came to the game. A lot of these were really, the rest of these are pretty much character changes that came. But first of all, it says partner customize. This is added 2 super souls to mentor Goku. This is full powered Super Saiyan 4, and then also Kaioken. This is my hidden move. These were the 2 things that were added as far as partner customization goes, but I do know that other super souls were added to some characters as well. Like Android 21 super souls were added to Android 16, and there may be some other things that we do not know about as well that are just not in the patch notes. But moving on to Nappa, Android 17, Super 17, and Videl, some of their normal animation or some of their normal move animations were made faster. Majin Buu preset 1 added Angry Explosion, and this can also now be used on his Mentor preset, which was not available before. Pan had a change to her jump animation. Hercule had a lower damage for some of his attacks. Cooler Final Form increased the speed of his heavy smash. Zarbon made some normal move animations faster, and then hit Awoken fixed issue where sometimes opponent would get knocked back when stamina broken. So basically that stupid infinite loop that people can do on you when you are non-stamina broken, it is now possible to do and get some insane damage out of when stamina broken as well. Now, the last thing we have here is a training mode change. It said when using the reset option, change it so Limit Burst and Super Soul skills also reset, which is fairly nice considering the fact when you are trying to test some things when involved with either Limit Burst or certain Super Souls that can only activate like one time upon use. You want to be able to test it multiple times, but the only way you could do so before was to actually load out of the training mode and then go back in. So again, that is definitely a nice change right there. Now there is one final thing at 104. I don't know what this is right here. He did not end up finishing it last night, but guys, that is pretty much everything that we got for Xenoverse 2 DLC 10 as far as the changes go. There were some things again that we did not get, some things that were not listed with on this. For example, Unrelenting Barrage and Hell's On Grenade are perfect examples of 2 skills that were not on the list, or 2 skills that we don't know what exactly changed but were still there. So let me know what you guys think about all these changes that came to DLC 10, to Xenoverse 2 with DLC 10, I should say. What do you guys think about all the skills that were made easier to hit off knockbacks? I really do appreciate all the strike based skills, at least, that were made easier to hit off knockback attacks, just because, again, like I said, a lot of strike skills really were not usable unless you were literally up close to your opponent right in front of their face, but that is no longer the case. There are strike skills now that we can use off knockback attacks and things like that. So again, man, let me know your thoughts on all this. Huge shout out to everybody that worked on it. Again, all their Twitters will be linked down below in the description. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, hope you guys have a good day. Peace, y'all.